Allegiance, and I think it's most appropriate that we ask probably one of the most decorated servicemen in our country's history to who served 38 years? 38 years in the United States Navy. I'm going to have him lead us, President Ted Carter, lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the republic for which it stands, nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you very much. And it is now exactly 9 o'clock, so we will begin our meeting. I'd like to call the August 17, 2023 meeting of the Board of Regents to order. Please call the roll.
Regent Latoro? Here. Regent Molina?
Here.
Regent Peckish?
Here.
Regent Schultes?
Here.
Regent Clare?
Here.
Regent Kenny?
Here.
Regent O'Connor?
Here.
Regent Schaefer? Regent Cheer? Here. Regent Stark? Here. Regent Whites?
Here.
Regent Wilmot? Here. Quorum is present.
Thank you. For all in attendance, please note that in compliance with the Nebraska Open Meetings Act, the board has posted a copy of the act near the south entrance of the boardroom. We do have a new face here with us from UNMC, so we'd like to welcome UNMC Faculty Senate President Umar Nataranjan. Did I get that right? Did I get that right? Natarajan. I promise by the end of my term I will have that right. So welcome. Thank you. We also want to acknowledge Dr. Rodney Bennett, Chancellor. Welcome, Dr. Bennett. Kristen Hasbrook. Where's Kristen? There. Welcome, Kristen. We look forward to getting to know all of you better and appreciate you guys all joining the team. Included in your materials is a copy of the minutes from our meeting on June 22, 2023. Regent Peckish caught an error on page 217, which listed our time of adjournment as 12:24 a.m. I can promise you at 12:24 a.m. I am 2.5 hours into REM. So thank you for pointing that out. I will ask that the minutes be corrected to 12:24 p.m. With that change, entertain a motion for approval. All right, has there been a motion and a second? Okay. Please call the roll.
Regent Molina?
Yes.
Regent Peckish?
Yes.
Regent Schultes?
Yes.
Regent Latoro?
Yes.
Regent Kenny? Yes. Regent O'Connor? Yes. Regent Cheer? Yes. Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Wilmot? Yes. Regent Clare?
Here, yes.
Minutes are approved.
All right, now is kind of a change. It's kind of an exciting time because usually we'd have luncheons or things to acknowledge these outstanding achievements by our faculty from our systems. But today, we're going to do it a little differently. And President Carter, I'm going to turn the podium over to him and have him lead us through the 2023 President's Excellence Awards ceremony. So, President Carter.
Tell everybody here, I have been looking forward to this portion of our meeting for a long time. Today, we get to publicly recognize some of the University of Nebraska's most outstanding faculty members. We're going to try a new format this year to celebrate the President's Excellence Award recipients. I've always felt our faculty don't get the public attention they deserve for the incredible work that they do. Every day, faculty across the University of Nebraska system are changing the lives of people all around them. They're educating our 50,000 students, helping them discover their passions and preparing them for their careers. They are doing world-class research. They are engaging with the community and growing our economy. And too often, their stories get lost in our day-to-day work. So we brainstormed a few ideas for how to recognize the recipients of the 2023 President's Excellence Awards, which, as you know, are the most prestigious faculty honors that we bestow. So we decided the board meeting was a perfect opportunity to focus public attention on these amazing faculty. This gives us the chance to lift them up in front of their colleagues, loved ones, our board, the media, and all Nebraskans who are tuning in online. And I have it on good authority that we are being viewed now by hundreds of Nebraskans, to include our world-class faculty on all of our campuses, which is really terrific. First, just a little bit about the awards that we are bestowing today. President's Excellence Awards recognize the highest levels of achievement by our faculty in the core missions of the University of Nebraska: teaching, research, and service, as well as technology transfer and inclusive excellence. Each year, we undergo a rigorous nomination and evaluation process led by the Office of the Provost to select our recipients. Nominations are carefully considered by the Committee of Faculty and Community members before recipients are chosen. Our selection committee members devote a great deal of time and energy to this process, and I want to publicly thank them for their diligence. I also want to thank Dr. Jeffrey Gold, Executive Vice President and Provost, for his leadership of our awards process. We give these awards because it's incredibly important that we celebrate the work our faculty do every day in the classroom, in the laboratory, and across our communities. This is the work that matters. It's the work our university was created to do, and it's the work that is making a real difference in the lives of students and untold numbers of other individuals inside and outside the university community. I truly believe the quality of a university is defined by the quality of its faculty. And as you get to see today, the University of Nebraska is home to some of the very best. So with that, let's begin our formal recognitions. I'm going to introduce each President's Excellence Award recipient individually, then invite them to join me at the podium, receive their award, and take a photo with myself and Provost Gold. And then I'm going to ask each recipient to share a few brief remarks with us. First up, we have the Outstanding Research and Creative Activity Award. Acronyms, and you're going to hear a lot of acronyms today. It's almost like military talk now. Outstanding Research and Creative Activity Award, acronym ORCA, first awarded in 1978. The ORCA honors faculty members who have performed research or creative activity of national or international significance with a sustained record of excellence. To be eligible for this award, a major portion of the work for which the faculty member is being recognized must have been performed at the University of Nebraska. The 2023 ORCA recipient is Dr. Rick Bevins, Chancellor's Professor of Psychology and Associate Vice Chancellor for Research at the University of Nebraska, Lincoln. Dr. Bevins has built an impressive body of research in behavioral pharmacology and addiction science that has earned national and international recognition. His work has led to better understanding of the use and misuse of methamphetamines, cocaine, nicotine, alcohol, and more recently, opioids. He leads the NIH-funded Rural Drug Addiction Research Center here at Nebraska, where scientists are working to address substance abuse in our state and beyond. Dr. Bevins is also a fellow of the American Psychological Association and the Society for Research in Nicotine and Tobacco, and has held numerous leadership positions across UNL during his more than 25 years here at the university. His work is having a profound impact on individuals and families in Nebraska and elsewhere, and we are fortunate to have him here with us at the University of Nebraska. Dr. Bevins, congratulations. Would you join me at the podium, and Dr. Gold as well.
Thank you, President Carter. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate everybody being here. I have a dear colleague and friend who would ask me, why do you experiments take so much time? And, can't you design them to be faster? And I say, well, no, these particular scientific questions require this time. Today, as we heard from President Carter, I unfortunately don't have that time to thank everybody who's been involved and have helped me along in my career in my 27 years at Nebraska. So with that apology for not being able to name all of and each of you that have helped me along the way, I first want to thank the selection committee. I am humbled to have such an esteemed group of my colleagues across the NU campuses, leaders of their different disciplines select me among the worthy applicants. Thank you. Over the years, I have been blessed to be surrounded by amazing students, trainees, and collaborators. The story of my research program is a chronicle of our scientific journey together. I cannot thank each of them enough at this point. And this recognition today is a recognition of their work as well. It cannot be done without them. The business of research and creative activities is not for the faint of heart. The rejection and the hypercriticism that comes with the kind of work we do has to be counterweighted by love and support. For me, this is family and friends. None of this would be possible without my wife, whose unconditional love has supported me throughout my years. My poor kids, Caroline and Savannah, that must listen to my endless rat stories. I work with rats in case. And my sister Debbie, who I do believe is zooming in from the DC area, who has just been a constant cheerleader over the years for me. And of course, all of my dear friends over the years. Finally, I will say there is no place like Nebraska. The university, the department, and my colleagues were supportive from the day I showed up on campus in my untucked flannels and jeans. While my attire has changed over the years, the support of the university and all of its friends and colleagues there have not changed. I am forever grateful for them. Thank you very much.
Okay, now we're going to be moving to the Outstanding Teaching and Instructional Creativity Award. This honor was created in 1992 to recognize a sustained record of excellence in teaching and creative work devoted to making instruction more effective. The first OTICA, I told you a lot of acronyms here, Outstanding Teaching and Instructional Creativity Award, OTICA. OTICA is presented to Dr. Betty Love, the James M. Earl Diamond Professor of Mathematics at UNO. Dr. Love has been dedicated to teaching innovation throughout her career. She recognized early on that technology was playing a growing role in learning and obtained funding for her first high-tech classrooms at UNO. As technology advanced, she has kept UNO ahead of the curve, developing an asynchronous online math course and pioneering the use of flipped classrooms. She has created 8 new courses and taught 25 different courses from freshman general education to the graduate level. Dr. Love has also expanded opportunities for math-averse students to engage with the subject in a more approachable way, helping them to grow and succeed. For example, in one course, students learn mathematical reasoning and computer programming skills as they design and create digital art. As Dr. Love says, we are changing attitudes about math one student at a time. Dr. Love, congratulations. Would you please join me at the podium?
Thank you, President Carter. wherever you want. You are. I would also like to thank the selection committee, who put in a lot of time, and I'm sure looked through a lot of applications. I appreciate your effort. I'm incredibly honored to receive this award. I was, and it's kind of an improbable story. I am a first-generation college student. Went to college just so I could play basketball, so very, very improbable journey here. The only way I got here is because I had wonderful teachers, and they have been role models for me in my career. And so I'd like to acknowledge just a few of those who've been very important to me. First, back to high school, I had two teachers, Mrs. Ann Sims and Mrs. Kathy Carroll, who pointed me in the direction to go to college. Then in college, I had a wonderful mentor and advisor, Dr. Charles Smith, who recently passed away, but I would describe as the most important influence in my life. He told me I should go to graduate school, and I thought, well, okay, I don't have anything else to do, so that sounds good. I like school. So I went on, got my master's degree, my PhD, and so I'd like to thank my PhD advisor, Dr. Richard Barr at SMU, who has continued to be a mentor even to this day. I started working at UNO. That was my first job 33 years ago. Over those years, I have worked with some wonderful colleagues. And so I'd like to name just a couple of those. Time doesn't permit to name all the ones I'd like to. But first of all, Dr. Cindy Corator, who I started out with at the same time, and she really is the one who got me thinking about how to be a good teacher. And Dr. Neil Grangenet was a mentor in terms of pursuing external funding and learning how to do educational research. And then more recently, one of my colleagues, Dr. Michelle Friend, who's here today, has been an integral part of the work that we're doing at UNO. I'd also like to say thank you to my department chair, who's also here today, Dr. Peters, as well as the UNO administration for creating an environment in which I could flourish. Finally, I'd like to thank my former students as well as my children. Two of my children here today, Ruby, Tina, have another one, Charlie in Vermont, that I think is watching. And I'd like to thank all of them because they taught me how to teach. And kind of maybe that's surprising, but from them I learned the importance of letting students know that you care about them, passionate, particularly those from marginalized populations. Having a mentor is invaluable. And also they taught me the importance of providing opportunities. That's been a hallmark of my course. And just allowing students to be themselves, be comfortable. Thank you.
The second OTICA is presented to Dr. Jeffrey Tallman, Associate Dean for Medical Education in the College of Medicine at UNMC. In that role, Dr. Tallman is responsible for administrating the College of Medicine's curriculum. He has developed novel curricula in laboratory management, billing, advocacy, and community, along with a number of online tools to improve resident education. Among his notable achievements, Dr. Tallman created a pathology course for the UNMC High School Alliance, where high school juniors and seniors in the Omaha area learn about disease principles, concepts that most students are not exposed to until graduate school. He also co-edited a book entitled Mind the Gap, which was the first book dedicated to managing the intergenerational dynamics in health professions education. He has more than 125 publications, multiple book chapters, and invited presentations on educational innovations to his credit, and is the recipient of numerous prestigious awards for excellence in teaching. Congratulations, Dr. Tallman. Would you please join me at the podium?
So you gave a faculty member a podium and a microphone, so
Watch out.
President Carter said this, and I'm not looking at the UNMC student region because she... First off, I want to thank President Carter, the selection committee, Dr. Gold, and the Board of Regents for this honor. Was looking at the list of folks that were previous recipients of this award. The number of individuals on it that were my professors and my mentors is staggering. So to be just nominated for this award is incredible, but to be counted among that group of individuals is an honor I cannot even begin to describe. I've been part of the University of Nebraska system since 1979 when I did my undergrad here at Lincoln. In fact, for Board of Regents, I just want to thank all of you because I probably would not have gone to college if it wasn't for the Regent Scholarship that I was offered here. So I thank you for that opportunity. Everything that I have accomplished to this point is the result of a massive team effort. I could be spending half an hour thanking all of the people, but some folks that I think really deserve attention are the leadership at UNMC, as well as in my department, Dr. Gold, Dr. Brad Bridigan, my former chair, Dr. Steve Henricks. This was a group of individuals who have set up an environment in which innovation is just second nature. And I've never once been told when I had a harebrained scheme or something I wanted to try, I was never told no. Told good luck, but never told no.
That's fun.
We also have an incredible staff and crew of people that help us do what we do. The Office of Medical Education, the Interprofessional Academy of Educators, the staff within the Department of Pathology and Microbiology, all of which make, again, innovation and teaching and just fostering the lives and careers of students so easy. We have an environment in which interprofessional education and collaboration, again, is second nature, much like innovation. And there's no better place for an educator like me to be. Finally, and I am being brief, this was my goal, I am being brief. The most important people I have to thank are my family. My parents, who were both high school teachers, who started me on this path indirectly. They said I should be a teacher, and I said, nope, I'm going to be a doctor. And here I am, I'm now doing education. And most importantly, my family, my wife, Dr. Mindy Lacey, who's behind me, and our two kids, Claire and Emma. They have put up with all of my harebrained schemes. They have supported me through everything, and there's no doubt that I would not be where I am today if they were not here. Thank you very much.
Okay, next we're going to move to the Innovation, Development, and Engagement Award. This honor, by the way, Innovation, Development, and Engagement Award, you probably figured out, IDEA. This honor was introduced in 2007 to recognize excellence in engagement and outreach for faculty who extend their academic expertise beyond traditional university boundaries in ways that enrich the broader community. Our first IDEA is presented to Dr. Daejun Soo, Associate Professor in the Department of Health Promotion at the College of Public Health at UNMC. Dr. Soo's research focuses on the economic, social, cultural, and technological factors that contribute to disparities in health and healthcare access.
Morning, everyone. What an honor. Thank you, President Carter, for this great recognition. I'm deeply honored to receive this award. At this moment, I have to say, I'm also humbled in recognizing that this award would simply not be possible without the support and partnership from my collaborators over the years. As President Carter mentioned in his speech, in the past 10 years, I had the privilege of working and leading a great team from the Center for Reducing Health Disparities in the College of Public Health. Together, we adopted and implemented a data-driven, community-engaged approach to promoting community health in Omaha and beyond. Through a series of projects such as refugee health, using telemedicine to serve patients with type 2 diabetes, working closely with the media to increase public awareness of local health disparity issues, developing and enhancing the community health worker workforce in Nebraska to address health disparities. So I would like to take this chance to thank the whole team at the Center for Reducing Health Disparities for their work, their trust in me, their support, including Dr. Athena Ramos, Dr. Kiuna King, Maria Teal, Tyra Rose, Jessica Earn, Dr. Zayu Mishu, and a few others, just to name a few, I guess, here. Let me also take this chance to thank and acknowledge several of our community partners, including Kathy Karstein and Dr. Ming Chu from Nebraska DHHS for their support over the years, and also Doris Lassiter, President and CEO of the Doris Lassiter Consulting Firm, and also Tila Mikos, founder and CEO of Compassion in Action, as well as Angela Johannek from the Omaha Benson High School Magnet for their support and partnerships over the years, but also for their support in my application for this award. I would also like to thank Dr. Ali Khan and Wendy Jensen from our college for their nomination of me for this award. Let me also say a word of thanks to Chancellor Gold for your support to me and also to the Center for Reducing Health Disparities over the years. Last but not the least, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to my family, my wife, Lei Feng Lei, and my two daughters, Anjali and Deanna, for their love and support, regardless of I'm having ups and downs in my career. So thank you all, and have a great day.
Now we're going to move to the Faculty IP Innovation and Commercialization Award. Yes, this one's called FIPICA. Honors University of Nebraska faculty who have developed and nurtured intellectual property from concept to licensing to startup businesses. We created this award last year out of a growing recognition out of the vital role that university research plays in economic and workforce development. The 2023 FIPICA recipient is Dr. Howard Gendelman, the Margaret R. Larson Professor of Internal Medicine and Infectious Diseases and Chair of the Department of Pharmacology and Experimental Neuroscience at UNMC. Dr. Gendelman is among our top innovators. He has authored more than 580 peer-reviewed publications, holds 138 patents, and has an H-index of 115. He co-founded Exavir Therapeutics Incorporated, a biotechnology company developing therapies to cure chronic diseases to include HIV/AIDS. The impact of this work is significant. As Dr. Gendelman says, the goal is to treat, prevent, diagnose, and perhaps eliminate chronic infectious and neurodegenerative diseases. For example, he and his team are paving the way for new therapeutics for Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. Many of us know what it's like to watch a loved one suffer from one of these conditions, and research like that being done by Dr. Gendelman and his team are going to be transformational for patients and families in Nebraska and beyond. Congratulations, Dr. Gendelman. Would you please join me at the podium?
Let me start off just, and my leader, Dr. Gold, who actually has been a great source of support at multiple levels. So thank you, Dr. Gold. But the two most important people are my wife, kids, as it would be, and my colleague, Benson Adagwa, who I nabbed from somewhere in Western Africa, who came in as a young student, grew to a postdoctoral fellow, and then an assistant associate, soon to be full professor. And it just really underscores what America is all about, what Nebraska is all about, that we can climb and really see our dreams. I'd like to just tell a story rather than name a lot of people, which I think is a wonderful story that was told to me about 32 years ago. And it was my former leader, Richard Johnson. He was the head of neurology and neuroscience at a place called Johns Hopkins. It's a little bit below Nebraska, but it's the way it goes. And he said, Howie, what are you doing? I said, I don't know, I'm coming to work. He said, but I heard you're going to Nebraska. I said, what are you doing? Where are you going? I said, well, it's somewhere between Los Angeles and New York. You can see it on the webs. He said, well, you really have to understand something before you make this decision. And I said, what? He said, well, the world is flat. The world is flat. And if you go to Nebraska, you're going to fall off the side of it. It's going to win. But that didn't stop. He got me in trouble again because they only paid $14,000 a year for fellows who were doing research for the first time, and I couldn't afford to make ends meet with 3 kids, a wife, and one coming soon. So I moonlighted in an emergency room, and which was a no-no. So this is something that Dr. Gold will tell. I'm always getting in trouble. So I think, am I right or am I wrong? Look, I got a real good source of a troublemaker, which is me. So a terrible thing happened is that his son, the chairman of neuroscience, ended up getting cut and needed stitches. And of course, it was a no-no to do work, or what we call moonlighting, was not allowed. And I looked in, and there was no other doctor there. He comes in and needed 15 stitches. And I said, I'm going to need 15 stitches pretty soon. This goes on. So took care of the kid. And the next day, I was called into the office. And he said to me, he said, I'm not going to fire you, but I want to. But if I see you suturing anybody else but my son, you will be fired. So I had to figure out how to make my way, because I couldn't afford, $14,000 a year. So I did something really nuts. I joined an organization called the United States Army Reserve. Did you ever hear of that one? Yeah, I don't know if you heard of that one. So I became an Army officer, and it kind of reminded me when you put that, you were a 3-star general, but the person who actually gave me, I was a colonel, lieutenant colonel, was actually a full bird colonel at that time. I never met a general until today. You're not dressed right, by the way. I mean, it's a big problem here. So I just want to leave with the final word, and that is Nebraska. This award is very special because it's not about publishing a paper. I published a couple papers. It's not about awards. I got my share of awards. Patents, I have a lot of them too. But it's making the world a better place. It's changing our society here in Nebraska, but influencing with our our innovations and our products and our new medicines that will change the world. And I have to leave with one quick snippet. And, you know, we're all married to this. I don't know if you know what this is. It's called a cell phone. But we just got an email award. And I think you saw it. And it was for many millions of dollars, which is great because money is always good. But it was something special because it came from the U.S. government, the National Institutes of Health, for our innovation. And in that award said that we have the capability to change the world. And changing the world, not somewhere in godforsaken place, could be Alaska. When I told my wife we're moving to Nebraska, she thought it was Alaska. She got mixed up. But we're doing these things right here at the University of Nebraska. So I'm very proud of that. Thank you.
Dr. Gendelman, I wish you were around when I got all kinds of cuts on my face from playing ice hockey. I part of had your sutures better than the ones I got, which has made me look like I look. Face looks pretty good, by the way. Yeah. Still working on it. All right, next we're going to honor the 2023 recipient of the Inclusive Excellence Collaboration Award, the Health Careers Resource Center at UNO. This award was created to honor departments or units at the University of Nebraska that have worked to expand opportunities and build a positive culture for all faculty, staff, and students. The Health Careers Resource Center provides career and academic advising to the nearly 3,000 pre-health professional students at UNO. The goal is to grow the healthcare pipeline in Nebraska and educate more healthcare providers to serve urgent workforce and community needs across our state. Working with UNMC, the UNO Center launched the Urban Health Opportunities Program to create opportunities for youth in underserved urban areas of Nebraska to pursue careers in healthcare. Most students who participate in the program go on to pursue medical training at UNMC. Additionally, thanks to support from the Health Careers Resource Center, more than 80% of UNO's pre-med applicants are accepted to the medical school, far exceeding the national average. Dr. Paul Davis, Director of the Health Careers Resource Center, will accept the award on behalf of the center. Dr. Davis, would you join me at the podium?
Thank you, President. Thank you, members of the Board of Regents. It is an honor and delight to be here. I, of course, am representing the Health Careers Resource Center. We have a number of our staff members here, and I just invite them if they would stand, those who are with us. If they'll stand to be recognized as well. Time and space did not allow all of our staff members to be here, but I'm grateful to represent them. As you know, this award was focused on inclusive excellence and collaboration. I wouldn't be here delighted with the progress we've made if it wasn't for a close collaboration with the University of Nebraska Medical Center. I appreciate my ongoing relationship with Chancellor Gold for his support, for the efforts, and for his vision about moving forward healthcare here in the state of Nebraska. I also appreciate our current Chancellor, Chancellor Lee, and for the leadership that she's provided, as well as within the College of Arts and Sciences. Continuing the idea of going to the emergency room and receiving stitches, several of the thousands of students that we have at UNO who come for advising at the Health Careers Resource Center were inspired when they would meet a healthcare professional, maybe for an accident, maybe as they were growing up and seeing their pediatrician. And they thought, I want to be that person someday, a doctor, a nurse, or a dentist. I think one of the things that we're most excited about of the thousands of pre-health students we have at UNO is not the student who has that experience and access early on, but it's more the student who didn't know that they could themselves become a healthcare worker, that goal was too far outside of what had ever happened in their family, or what had ever happened maybe even in their community. And so that's a focus of what we do in the Health Careers Resource Center, is we set visions high, and we work with those students to help everybody be able to achieve their dream when they come to a University of Nebraska campus, that they can find a career where they can use their talents and their learning to help serve. And in our case, the students that we serve will go on into healthcare. So it's with great pride that we accept this award. Grateful again to the Board of Regents and for the leaders in the University of Nebraska system. They have truly been an exceptional inspiration to me and to my staff. We're grateful for them. Thank you again.
Our final award this meeting celebrates the 2023 recipient of the University-wide Departmental Teaching Award. This award goes to the School of Biological Studies at UNL. Created in 1993, the UDTA honors departments or units that have made significant contributions to the teaching efforts of the university. Recipients must have demonstrated outstanding dedication to the education of students at the undergraduate, graduate, or professional levels. The School of Biological Sciences makes fundamental discoveries in the life sciences with research encompassing all levels of biological organization. Its mission is to generate new foundational knowledge that advances scientific discovery and prepares future generations to meet the great challenges of our changing world. Faculty and staff in the School of Biological Sciences are pioneers in innovative teaching. For example, the school offers field-based courses at the Cedar Point Biological Station near Ogallala that provide students with hands-on experiences studying diverse local habitats. The school also has partnered with Kasner to develop a new program that engages students in a research experience and smooths their transition to college. Faculty and staff are highly involved in the community, engaging with the public, government, nonprofits, and private partners in offering programs that promote effective communication of science to all Nebraskans. Dr. Michael Herman, professor and director of the School of Biological Sciences, will accept the award on behalf of the school. Dr. Herman, will you join me at the podium?
It's okay.
So I'm pleased to accept the 2023 UDTA Award on behalf of the School of Biological Sciences. As was mentioned, SBS is a research-intensive unit that's the hub of life science research at UNL and within the NU system. We generate new knowledge through cutting-edge collaborative research and work diligently to prepare the next generation of Nebraskans through innovative evidence-based educational practices and community engagement. Examples of our innovative approaches are exemplified by the colleagues that are joining me here today. Let me introduce them to you. Dr. David Woodman
is the SBS Vice Director and instructor for our Anatomy and Physiology course that uses donated human cadavers to provide a unique educational experience for students. He's also developed an innovative intern program for undergraduates that allows them to both learn anatomy and physiology and grow as instructors. So this program is in high demand and is quite selective. And those who have participated in it often have an improved chance of getting into professional schools. I would say that many Nebraska physicians practicing today, maybe even your physician, was a student in Dr. Woodman's course. Dr. John DeLong is an associate professor and director of Cedar Point, which you just, biological station, which you just heard about, near Ogallala, which I think is the westernmost outpost of the university. SBS has taught field-based experiential learning courses at Cedar Point for more than 45 years. We were engaged in experiential learning before that was a thing folks talked about. We offer between 8 and 12 courses every summer in biology, but also we could collaborate with other units to offer immersive literature, art, and other courses, and writing courses out at Cedar Point. So if you find yourself out in western Nebraska, you should contact Dr. DeLong and come by for a visit. Better yet, you should make a special visit, because it's really a special place and a gem in the system, I think. Most of the alumni I meet with cite their experience at Cedar Point as one of the most impactful and memorable during their careers as an undergraduate. And I also want to recognize Dr. DeLong for playing an instrumental role in compiling our UDTA application and collaborating with me on the narrative. Dr. Mariana Burks is an assistant professor of practice in SBS. She has served as a science specialist in the federally funded UNL TRIO program and a lecturer in SBS, and she's an accomplished teacher and mentor. Along with Professor Christy Montooth, Dr. Burks co-directs a new program called STEM Power that engages first-generation underrepresented students in STEM in a research experience that smooths their transition to college. Students get a paid internship to the summer at the summer before entering UNL, and they can continue this research experience throughout the year through our first-year research experience program at UNL. So the program was developed by Montooth and Dr. Burks, and also Brian Couch, and initially funded through SBS funds that I was pleased to be able to allocate. We invested not quite $50,000 over 2 summers, impacted 21 young scholars, and earlier, well, actually late last year, Dr. Burks and Montooth were awarded $1 million NSF grant to continue the program for 5 years. So I'll do some math for you. That's a 20-to-1 return on our investment, and is provided priceless experiences for these students. Finally, last but not least, is Ashley Foltz. Ashley is the outgoing president of the Biology Graduate Students Association and is here to represent the graduate students. She's also an important member of my research team. So we take great responsibility, take our responsibility to graduate education very seriously in SBS. These students are the next generation of STEM leaders in both the public and private sectors of our economy. Nothing, and I mean nothing, happens in SBS, and I would say in all of UNL, but for the efforts of our graduate students. Yes, that deserves a fun applause. They help drive cutting-edge research programs and are active, engaged instructors in our classrooms and teaching laboratories. They are indispensable. Ashley has mentored 6 STEM Power students over the last 3 summers and recently received the Graduate School Excellence in Mentoring Award from the UNL Graduate Studies. And so I'm very proud to be her mentor. I'm honored to work with her and these people and others in the school. And again, on behalf of the School of Biological Sciences, I want to thank you for this recognition. It means a lot to us and inspires us to continue our work. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, that wraps up the 2023 President's Excellence Awards, and I hope this is a format that we'll use going forward. To our faculty, again, thank you for all being here. To our award recipients, congratulations again. Let's give everybody one more round of applause. Mr. Chairman, I'll turn the mic back over to you.
Thank you. We too want to say congratulations to all of the 2023 President's Excellence Award winners, and thank you for your contributions to university, and thank you for your contributions to state, and mostly thank you for your contributions to our students. Thank you very much. Let's give them one more round of applause. Okay, so at the beginning of each Board of Regents meeting, we take time to recognize those persons who all too often don't receive the recognition that they deserve. The Board of Regents believes that it's vitally important that we acknowledge your commitment as well as your contributions to the university. So as the Kudos Awards recipients are announced, would you please come forward to the podium and join the Regent making the presentation. Following each presentation, we'll take a picture that will appear on our website, and the President, Chancellor, and the recipient's family and supporters will all be invited to join into that picture. So our first Kudos recipient is Sarah Bruner from UNK, and the award will be presented by Regent Molina. Molina.
The Board of Regents is pleased to recognize Sarah Bruner, Health Sciences Explorers Coordinator at UNK. Although relatively new to her position, Sarah is not new to Nebraska, to UNK, nor to health sciences. She is from North Loop, Nebraska, earned her bachelor's in radiographic technology from UNK, and brought 17 years of healthcare experience to her current position. As coordinator for the Health Science Explorers program, Sarah works to develop a health sciences student pipeline from 7th grade through professional school. She's responsible for creating opportunities that provide exposure to healthcare professions, career awareness, hands-on and internship experiences, mentoring, learning community experiences, networking, and professional development. Sarah particularly enjoys the Explorers Academy, a monthly, all-day, year-long program for juniors and seniors who come to campus for in-depth investigation into all aspects of healthcare. She also assists with the Kearney Health Opportunity Program, KHOP, learning community, which says is an incredible opportunity for students to make the transition to college easier and offer support to help make their first-year transition a success. Peggy Abels, Director of Health Sciences, notes, Sarah's energy and enthusiasm are contagious, and students benefit tremendously from her expertise. Enrollment in the program more than tripled, that's right, tripled in its second year, and student evaluations have been outstanding. Her work has not only encouraged career awareness, but has also resulted in a more than 25% increase in applications to UNK by students interested in healthcare careers. Sarah's also been a part of UNK Assist and the employee recognition community. She and her husband, Nathan, who is here today, have 3 children, Sawyer, Emerson, and Noah. Your contributions extend far above the ordinary. Please join me in congratulating Sarah on being an invaluable asset to UNK and to UNK's rural health. Thank you.
Congratulations, Sarah. Regent Schultes will present the Kudos Award to Dorothy Panowitz from the University of Nebraska Medical Center.
On behalf of the Board of Regents, I am pleased to present a Kudos Award to Dorothy Panowitz, Budget and Fiscal Associate in the UNMC Office of Budget and Fiscal Analysis. Dorothy continually looks for ways to improve processes and procedures at UNMC, where she has worked for the past 34 years. She was a key player in the development of the university's budget prep system and is one of the few employees with access to the system that maintains UNMC's policies and procedures. Dorothy prides herself on producing UNMC's annual Planning, Information, and Quality Indicators Report, an extensive and essential resource full of facts, figures, and campus accomplishments from the prior year. Dorothy's nominator praised her work on the report, saying that she single-handedly gathers information, formats, edits, proofs, and finalizes all of the information and data submitted by the various subject experts. In addition, she researches and crafts specific sections herself. A notable fact about Dorothy, she truly embodies what it means to be a lifelong learner, and according to her nominator, has taken a college-level course each of the past 20 years they have worked together. Dorothy is joined by her team members, Susan Kraft-Mann, Margaret Herlocker, and Hunter Pates, along with her daughter, Tanya. Please join me in thanking Dorothy for her commitment and tireless work in supporting UNMC and her continuous drive to improve processes that make life easier for her work family. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Dorothy. Joey Sanchez, the third, from UNO, as our final kudos recipient. And the Kudos Award will be presented by Regent Latoro.
The Board of Regents is proud to present a kudos to Officer Joseph Sanchez from the UNO Department of Public Safety. Officer Sanchez has been recognized by his peers for modeling a positive example for his fellow officers to follow while serving the university and Omaha communities. His nominator said that Officer Sanchez's actions have set the tone for the UNO Department of Public Safety. All students, faculty, and staff can look to his example of helping others as a way of life and practice in their educational professional pursuits. November 2022, Officer Sanchez went above and beyond the call of duty and saved the life of an individual as he responded to a call regarding a person attempting suicide on top of the UNMC parking garage. On arrival, Officer Sanchez observed an individual standing on the ledge outside the guardrail. His nominator said that Officer Sanchez identified himself as a university police officer and patiently engaged the individual in extreme need of assistance. Then, with the help of 2 Omaha police officers, the person was brought safely back over the guardrail and transported to emergency protective custody. The nominator said that although Officer Sanchez knew nothing of the individual who needed, he did not hesitate to engage that person, gaining trust and eventually providing the help needed to obtain life-saving assistance at times of crisis. Officer Sanchez is joined by his wife, Julie, today for his commitment to demonstrating maverick spirit and going above and beyond the call of duty. Officer Sanchez has fully earned this recognition.
Congratulations, Joey. And congratulations to all of our kudos recipients. And while you are most welcome to stay and observe the balance of our meeting, if you wish to leave, we would take no offense. You may do so at this time. Thank you again for joining us, and congratulations again. President Carter, you have some remarks that you'd like to make today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know we've had a long morning giving awards and kudos. I'm going to just spend a couple minutes giving you a brief update on the 5-point plan that we shared with you through briefing and extensive memo in our last meeting on 22 June. First of all, I want to say I appreciate the statements of support from this board. Your partnership is a crucial part of our ability to put this plan into action. I also want to thank our vice presidents, our chancellors, their leadership teams, our faculty leads, and so many others for their willingness to roll up their sleeves and get to work. None of us have any illusions about the hard work ahead of us, but there is a sense of energy about being on offense in the face of challenges where we sometimes have to play defense. I truly believe the University of Nebraska will be a more competitive, efficient, innovative institution when this plan is realized. So just some updates since our June rollout, we have taken the following actions. First, we immediately put short-term strategies into place that will allow us to manage our shortfall this fiscal year without dipping into our cash reserves. A hiring freeze on non-faculty positions and quarterly operating budget rescission are effective across the system. And we've asked the chancellors to exercise strong fiscal restraint on things like travel, equipment, and other discretionary spending. Next, while temporarily disruptive, these steps will keep our budget balanced in the near term. We're also moving forward on the long-term strategies that we identified, the actions that are intended to make us more competitive, more dynamic, and free up resources that can be redeployed for our priorities. But just recently, I've asked Chancellor Bennett and Chancellor Gold to form a very small, or what I call a tiger team, to help us figure out how to report our research as a single entity. The University of Nebraska should get credit for all the research we do. Reporting UNL and UNMC separately puts us at a competitive disadvantage. There's a reason almost every other major university reports their research together. This is a big step toward gaining readmission to the AAU, and just as importantly, we want to send the message that we are establishing a culture of excellence at Nebraska where everyone knows that we expect to compete at the highest levels, athletically and academically. I've asked our campus teams to model the costs of total cost of attendance scholarships at various ACT score thresholds as part of our goal to compete more effectively for top students in Nebraska. I've asked our CFO, Chris Kabork, to initiate a zero-based budget review on non-faculty positions to ensure that every expenditure is justified. Chris will also conduct a review of operating functions that remain decentralized. We don't have any predetermined answers, but these processes will force us to think carefully about every dollar and whether we have additional opportunities to take advantage of our scale and operate more efficiently. We will use these reviews to help us determine resource allocations for the next fiscal year. Additionally, I've tasked our Enterprise Data Solutions team with creating a dashboard that will measure our instructional programs against the Nebraska Coordinating Commission's minimum performance standards. Our goal is to have an ongoing conversation about the viability of our programs, including whether we should recommend higher performance standards to our board. I've also asked Provost Jeff Gold to lead a conversation with the chief academic officers about collaborative opportunities and programs that are offered by multiple campuses. Finally, I've asked Provost Gold to review the university's investments in system-wide institutes and programs to determine whether we are missing opportunities to get greater return in terms of federal research funding. Federal research funding is a key performance metric for AAU admission, and it's important that we maximize university investments in our program. So wrapping this up, we have some aggressive deadlines for all this work, and I want to have these reviews complete and decisions made no later than December 31st, and in some cases earlier. We are well aware we may need to table some less urgent projects in order to get this done. As I've told our teams, and I will reiterate this to the board, this plan is our highest priority. If we want to stay ahead of the challenges facing higher education, we need to keep moving forward. Otherwise, the challenges will simply happen to us, and we will not be in a position to grow and compete the way this board and all Nebraskans expect us to. As confident as we are internally about our path forward, it's always gratifying when your approach is validated by outside experts. And we got some really good news this week, just a couple weeks ago, when the S&P Global affirmed our AA bond rating and cited our 5-point plan as the key factor in their decision. They were impressed with our proactive approach and recognized the strong fiscal management by this board and administration. Now, that AA rating means that we are able to borrow at lower interest rates, a win for students and taxpayers, and it puts us in very good company. Only 8% of public institutions across the country have either a AA or AAA rating. That tells me that in spite of the challenges we're dealing with, and most, if not all, of our peers are facing with the same challenges, here in Nebraska, we're taking all the right actions. I'm really proud of the leadership team we have in place, from the board to the vice presidents and the chancellors. So I'm looking forward to updating the board again on our 5-point plan at our next meeting. In the meantime, I'm happy to take any questions from our board members. Otherwise, Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it back to you.
Any questions or comments? I'll be focused 100% on A. Get it into that, or at least what we can control, which is we can control our metrics that make us eligible. That is my goal, and that is my drive, and I want to get the University of Nebraska back into that prestigious association. So thank you. Okay, the standing rules on the board provide that anyone desiring to speak. Did you have a question? Excuse me. Did you have a question or comment?
I wondered what looks the.
In terms of that? Yeah, well, first of all, the toughest part will be looking across our academic programs for where and how we might merge, where we've got duplication. As I briefed you in the memo, we've got over 20 academic disciplines that are shared on 3 campuses and an additional 20 that are shared on more than 20. So that work I want to have brought up through the academics, through the faculty senates, through that process, because they are best equipped to do that. The second part that's the most difficult is in this creating a dashboard, so how we measure ourselves against other AAU units. It is multifaceted. I mean, we've been talking a lot about research at the federal level and the overall level. That's just one part of the metric. Creating or obtaining faculty members and researchers that are members of the National Academy of Arts and Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine is really going to be the long-range work. We are well behind our peers and those types of researchers. That will cost resources, so as we're talking about a budget and where those numbers are, we should expect that we're going to have to go a little deeper, because that's a priority that we're going to invest in. So again, none of these things happen overnight, but again, when we put a good plan together, and as I learned long time ago, an average plan executed well is way better than an outstanding plan not executed well. So we're going to try to make this doable.
Regent Whites.
I have sort of a general understanding of the benefits of AAU, but I'm wondering if you could do a quick summary of why this is such a critical piece for us, for people who aren't familiar with the benefits of being in AAU list.
Well, again, it's multifaceted. It isn't just trying to join an all-star team. It's actually much bigger than that. First of all, faculty members want to come work for institutions that have that brand of being in the AAU. It's easy to retain top-notch faculty and researchers when you have that association. Students actually want to have their diplomas from an AAU institution. We've just heard that from students from all over the country when the 6 new institutions were just added. The AAU has just changed the format by which they add students. Prior to this most recent addition of 6 institutions, you had to remove institutions before you added. So today there are 71 institutions that are in the AAU. And then there's additional pieces here. Obviously, UNL is a proud member of the Big Ten. When we were brought into the Big Ten in 2011, we were a member of the AAU. And I can say this because it's not a surprise to anybody, as we've just watched recent conference realignments and expansion. The Big Ten prides itself on AAU membership. We are the only flagship institution that is not a member of the AAU. And in 2024, there will be 18 members of the Big Ten. So I don't know about you, but I think that makes us look a little different, and I don't want us to be that different.
Thank you.
Touched on this, but if you could elaborate a little bit more on how membership, how entering into a member. English is very difficult for me. Process and how we actually enter into the, like a quota that we need to meet of certain.
Us wanting to be a member of the AAU and us making the effort to get in has nothing to do with actually becoming a member. You have to be invited. So you have to show that you are equal to or better than the actual members. So that's why we're creating a dashboard to measure ourselves against every metric that they look at. We know what those are. It's everything from graduation rates to retention rates, to PhD, teaching quality, to difference between Pell Grant eligible students and non-Pell eligible grant students, to faculty, to the research dollars, as we've already mentioned, and then, of course, National Academy membership. So we have all that. Our dashboard's almost complete. We'll be briefing that to key leaders here once we have that information. Again, this is not something that turns around in a year. This could take 3 to 5 years, but it doesn't mean it's not worth doing, because this is about instilling a culture of excellence. So yes, the aspirational goal is become a member of the AAU, but all along the way, we will get exceptionally better. And that's the point.
Yeah, I would just, unless my colleagues have a question, I would just say that success breeds success. And UNL, UNMC, maybe leading the way to get us in here will lift every campus in our institution and lift the University of Nebraska system. Rising tide lifts all ships. And to steal a Navy term, right?
And to be clear-eyed, in 1909, we were one of the original 20 members of the AAU. By the year 2011, we were the 12th largest public university in the country. So we have enjoyed outstanding reputation in this space. And when we became a system in 1968, we not only added UNO, but we bifurcated UNMC and UNL, which led to the eventual atrophy of our research dollars summation. So we did this to ourselves, and as much as Chancellor Harvey Perlman tried to fight this off in 2011, we were voted out of the AAU. We didn't separate ourselves voluntarily, we were kicked out. No institution in the history of the AAU has ever come back in, whether they either left or kicked out. So I'm not going to kid ourselves, this would be a first. This is more than a moonshot, this is a Mars shot. But I actually think we can do this, and all we have to do is put our heads together and make sure that everybody, to include all 4 campuses, because everybody benefits from this, wants to make this happen. I know Dr. Rodney Bennett cares about this. I know Dr. Jeff Gold does. I know Dr. Lee actually gets how important this is, even for the UNO campus and for our Kearney campus. And Rodney, you've already addressed your leadership, and they are all in. So now it's time to get our heads together and start figuring out the how-to.
Any other comments from my colleagues? All right, everything AAU. Okay, moving on. The standing rules of the board provide that anyone desiring to speak concerning any item on the agenda for this meeting, regardless of notice, may do so. If anyone would like to address the board on a matter on the agenda, please come forward and complete the sign-in sheet. You'll have 3 minutes to address the board. All right, there being no one wishing to speak, I declare the opportunity for public comment closed. It's now time to consider the consent agenda. The consent agenda, as indicated by its name, is moved and voted on as a group of action items as opposed to the administrative agenda, which we'll touch on in a minute. Items are considered on the administrative agenda and discussed individually. On the consent agenda, they're just voted on, as I said, as a group. With that said, unless any of my colleagues on the board wish to consider any of the items on the consent agenda, I would ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda. And is there a second? And is there any comments or anything? Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we got moved and seconded. Call the roll, please.
Regent Peckish?
Yes.
Regent Schultes?
Yes.
Regent Latoro?
Yes.
Regent Molina?
Yes.
Regent O'Connor? Regent Shear? Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
Regent Wilmot? Regent Clare?
Yes.
Regent Kenny?
Yes.
The motion passes.
I'll now ask President Carter to guide us through the administrative.
Okay, Business and Finance. Item 11B1 seeks your approval of Blue Cross Blue Shield of Nebraska as the third-party administrator for the University of Nebraska's dental plan. In 2022, a 12-member committee comprised of university faculty and staff representing all campuses was formed to evaluate RFP responses for the university's third-party administrators for our insured benefits plans. Submissions were evaluated by the committee based on financial and non-financial criteria and finalist presentations. Based on the committee's evaluation, we recommend Blue Cross Blue Shield of Nebraska be selected for this contract for a 3-year initial term beginning January 1st, 2024, with the option of 2 additional 1-year renewals. Approval of this item would authorize the president or their designee to finalize negotiations based on the term sheet attached to this item and execute the documents necessary to operate the program. This item was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
So I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion.
Regent Latoro?
Yes.
Regent Molina?
Yes.
Regent Peckish?
Yes.
Regent Schultes? Regent Shear? Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites? Regent Wilmot? Regent Clare?
Yes.
Regent Kenny? Regent O'Connor? The motion passes.
Item 11B2 seeks your approval of revisions to the UNK UNMC Rural Health Science Education Complex Phase 2 project. The proposed revision incorporates the $10 million in state funding approved by then Governor Ricketts and the Nebraska legislature into the overall project budget. These state dollars will be used to buy special equipment for the rural health facility. After further review by our accounting team, we determined this equipment needs to be included in the project scope so it can be appropriately capitalized as part of the project. In addition to the revisions to the project, this item also constitutes the intermediate design review required by board policy. Now, I want to take this opportunity to again thank the governor and the legislature for their partnership on this incredibly important project for rural Nebraska. UNK and UNMC have a proven record of working together to grow the rural healthcare workforce and meet the quality of life and economic development needs of our communities. We saw that with the highly successful health science education complex, which opened in 2005. Now, with this latest public-private partnership, we are showing again that big things can happen when we work together. The facility will create space for new and expanded UNMC programs at UNK in allied health, nursing, medicine, pharmacy, and public health. We expect students will be able to enroll in the program starting in the fall of 2025, using existing UNK facilities until the new building opens in early 2026. And we are very excited to celebrate the groundbreaking in a few weeks on September 5th. Now, I've said it before, this facility is going to be a game changer for Nebraska. We are very grateful for all of the public and private partnerships who are supporting this effort, and we can't wait to open our doors to students and faculty in a few short years. This item was reviewed by the Business and Finance Committee, and I recommend it to you for your approval.
Regent Kenny.
Make that motion to approve.
For a second. Okay, discussion. Regent Shear.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The package and the
Thank you. Thank you. O'Connor.
That being said, I'm really excited to vote yes on this again. I think this is one of the most groundbreaking things that the university has done in the history of the institution. The work being done on it is incredible. I want to thank President Carter and Chancellor Christensen and all the President's office for the work that they've done on it. It's really a very touching project, and I think it's going to save lives. And excited for the rest of the state to be able to start to see the vision come into focus. So.
Thank you. Chancellor Gold.
Well, thank you, and I think President Carter said it extremely well, but this is yet one more example of a very successful public-private partnership, and we should not underestimate the significance of raising just under $35 million of private philanthropy to match up against the state dollars to get this construction project done. And then the partnership between the university and the state in maintaining the operating costs of making sure that this program is successful. I've come to understand that the enrollment in pre-health profession students on the UNK campus is already rising in anticipation of this project, and as it will continue to do in the future. I will also tell you that if you look across the United States, this unquestionably will be the largest multi-professional satellite program ever established. And the Board of Regents, the legislature, the former governor, and of course our entire healthcare team and partnership with Doug Christensen should be very proud of that. The future is bright for building the future of rural healthcare workforce. Of course, much of that work lies in front of us, and it's not just about digging a hole on September 5th, but it's about making sure that we appropriately staff and then graduate these young women and into successful careers.
Thank you. Regent Stark.
I congratulate Dr. Gold for your work. I know this took many years. We don't often see one campus pouring a lot of money into another campus and helping the development. So thank you and congratulations. It means a lot to the people in Kearney and UNK, and particularly Chancellor Christensen. Thank you.
Regent Kinney.
Point of information, Chancellor. Many of you in this room have raised a lot of money, and Jeff, you've done, a lot of things like that. But in Kearney, Nebraska, $35 million is unheard of. Thank you.
I just wanted to say how excited I am about this project. From a former UNK student, K-Hop kid, to now a fourth-year medical student at UNMC, this is going to serve a lot of students. It would have been a fantastic opportunity for myself had there been a medical school in Kearney, Nebraska, back when I was about to begin my med school journey. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see how we're able to train our future physicians and other health care workers to specifically serve rural patients. We know there are disparities in healthcare with the rural population, increased morbidity and mortality, decreased access to healthcare. I can't help but wonder how we train our future medical students to speak with our rural farmers about their pain level. I know that's always a joke we make, but you get a rural farmer come into clinic and it wasn't because their wife nagged them to come in, that something is severely wrong. It's a quick story if I can tell one. When I was on my family medicine rotation at my home clinic in Fairbury, Nebraska, we had an 86-year-old farmer who flipped his four-wheeler on top of him and came in by squad, to be fair, but said his back hurt a little. We put him through the donut of truth, the CT scan, and he has multiple burst fractures in his vertebrae, and just not, he was in a little bit of pain. So we'll see how we can adapt our curriculum to serve our rural patients and our rural population.
That's a great story.
Other comments? Regent Millie.
To Regent Shear's point, and as an accounting student, I appreciate this particular agenda item. I learned about capitalization last semester, and it's a wise accounting maneuver, to say the least. But more importantly, I'd like to echo the appreciation that we see from this project. There are a few Kearney alumni at this table, and as a current student, I couldn't be more excited about the great things that we're seeing. And as we saw with our Kudos Award with Sarah, We have students who are excited about healthcare, who are from rural Nebraska, who want to serve patients and take care of their community. And as Chancellor Christensen pointed out, this is a generational investment. Great for students, it's going to be great for our community, and I'll be happily voting for this item.
Other comments?
I would just like to say, as a resident of rural Nebraska, or we have to go to get, et cetera, and then knowing that in many of those places, the doctors left because they go on better. But this is great to see. And I know that we do have many people out there in my part of the country, and some of them even get more isolated, that, you know, are thrilled to know that we're making some strides in meeting those.
Well, as the old timer on this board, although I will say that Jack Stark is older than me. But as the old timer on this board, I want to provide a little history, because this project and the commitment and the partnership that you spoke of goes back to building a healthier Nebraska with Governor Heinemann's administration, and that was a partnership between the state and the university and the private sector. Communities jumped in and helped, and among other things, it was important to the healthcare in Nebraska. And as President Carter said, we built the UNMC UNK Health Sciences Education Complex. It increased teaching and research space and educated more nurses for Nebraska. And if you looked at things, this country is woefully short on nursing professionals, and so we saw an opportunity, we saw a need, and we tried to fix that. And in addition to that, we had upwards of 30, how many counties did not have a health care provider? Like, it was around 30, I think, in our state at this time, that didn't have a health care provider. So to your point, Regent Wilmot, having to drive hours and hours to get some sort of health care is an incredible task. And so we want to try to grow rural Nebraska. We want to grow these and keep these communities vibrant. If you don't have health care, you're going to close down. And so we stepped up to the plate, and when you think about a third of the counties not having health care, that project has considerably closed that gap. So project number one has closed that gap, and we are now, how many counties don't have a health care provider? Is it around 15?
Well, in last year, there are 19 counties that do not have a primary care physician. There are 49 that do not have a single board-certified OBGYN, and there are 51 that do not have a single board-certified pediatrician.
So this gap, while it's closed, this gap still remains a problem, particularly for rural Nebraska. And Mike, you can attest to that in your great work throughout our state. So it's extremely important. This project, the UNK UNMC Health Sciences Education Complex Phase 2, will further address the need for more health care providers throughout Nebraska, but primarily in rural areas. Our goal is to close the gap so that every county throughout Nebraska has a health care provider. It will expand the existing nursing program and bring new health care options to the UNK campus, including occupational therapy, medical nutrition, genetic counseling, and respiratory care. For the first time, UNMC will be educating physicians in rural Nebraska, and a Master of Health program will be added to the UNK program. It will also offer professional development, training, and continuing ed opportunities for existing healthcare workers. And I can't say enough about how great this project is going to be. I also want to thank Doug Christensen, because I think without Doug Christensen, this project doesn't get been a champion for this for over 10 years. and has really been all in on getting this project to where we are today. And I wish he was here to celebrate with us, but he had other conflict that came up. So I want to thank Doug. I want to thank the community of Kearney and what they have done in terms of stepping up to the plate, as my colleague Kenny offered. I want to thank Governor Ricketts, and I want to also thank Governor Pillen for his leadership with getting this done. And Ted, thank you for your leadership and also helping complete this very exciting project. Anybody else have any comments? Long-winded lawyer closed it all, huh? All right. Call the roll, please.
Regent Molino,
Yes.
Regent Peckish,
Yes.
Regent Schultes,
Yes.
Regent Latoro,
Yes.
Regent Stark, Regent Whites,
I'm very grateful for all the work that went into this, yes.
Regent Wilmot,
Yes.
Regent Clare,
Yes.
Regent Kenny, Regent O'Connor, Regent Shear. Motion passes.
Thank you. Regent Peckish.
I move the Board of Regents go into closed session as authorized by Section 84-1410 of the revised statutes of Nebraska for the protection of public interest and to prevent needless injury to the reputation of persons who have not requested a public hearing for the purposes of holding a discussion limited to the following subject: personnel matters involving the university staff.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
Call the roll.
Regent Peckish,
Yes.
Regent Schultes,
Yes.
Regent Latoro,
Yes.
Regent Molino,
Yes.
Regent Whites,
Yes.
Regent Wilmot,
Yes.
Regent Clare, Regent Kenny,
Yes.
Regent O'Connor,
Yes.
Regent Shear, Regent Stark.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay, let the minutes of this meeting reflect that this closed session will be strictly limited to discussion of the following subject: personnel matters involving the university staff. And we are now in closed session, so as you leave the room, please take all recording devices and personal belongings.
asking the wrong, but I was answering the wrong.
Okay, we're back in session. Item 11C1 seeks approval by the Board of Regents for President Carter's performance-based merit pay for fiscal year 2022-2023. As you know, Section 2C of President Carter's contract of employment provides that he shall be eligible for performance-based merit pay up to 15% of his base salary at the end of each year of employment. President Carter's performance-based merit pay for fiscal year 22-23 is based on a qualitative score relating to his performance to the core leadership pillars from the presidential search and a quantitative score relating his performance to certain deliverables. President Carter's score of 99.3%, which results in 100% of the merit pool being paid to him. Any way you measure it, President Carter had an outstanding third year. He is making progress against the 5-year strategy, and I am particularly excited about the June 22 reinvention plan, which includes the ambitious goal of regaining membership in the AAU. Everything AAU. Is there a motion to approve item 11C1 for our agenda? A motion, is there a second?
Second.
In a second. Discussion, and I believe Regent Shear, I'd like to have you discuss, because you've got a little different situation than us.
Just wanted to clarify, I will be abstaining from. I think it's on, sorry. It has nothing to do with President Carter personally or professionally. I think he's done an outstanding job. Mine is more, and I guess the analogy would be when this was talked about and the matrix was determined, I was not a board member. I wasn't involved in the discussion of what we were going to measure, how we were going to measure it, and the quantitative parts of that. And to me, it's much like missing a meeting and then voting on the minutes that they're correct. I wasn't there, I don't know. And the parameters that we're basing this on, I was not part of the selection of those parameters, and so I can't vote on something that I was not a part of in regards to that parameters being set forth. I do want to say I think President Carter has done an excellent job and will continue to do an excellent job, and I think we're fortunate to have him here. This is just a personal item that I feel it's more appropriate for me to abstain versus vote on this particular item. And I just wanted to clarify for the rest of the board and the public that may be here or others, this has nothing to do with his performance, his person. There is not, I don't have a conflict or anything with President Carter. I have found him very personable and engaging, and he's done an excellent job. I just was not involved in this portion of the contract determination or the valuation. So in that case, I will abstain. So thank you.
Is it fair to say, in light of a musical being performed at the Lead Center, that you weren't in the room when it happened?
That's probably a good analogy as well.
Okay, other comments?
I would speak up at this point too. I will plan to abstain, and the same basic reasons. I was not here, and in fact, until it kind of appeared on here on our agenda, I didn't even know y'all had done an evaluation. So, but yes, in my time of being a board member now, I have found President Carter to be very helpful, very knowledgeable. I believe that, you know, his heart is in promoting the university, doing the best he can. I've enjoyed my time that I've had with him thus far. Look forward to a lot more time. So just so that y'all understand that too, and I wouldn't want him to feel there was any kind of personal affront or anything like that, because I appreciate everything that I've seen from him.
Fantastic. Anybody else have comments? Regent
Yes, like many of the other, student regents, we were off cycle along with the 2 abstaining board members. Our thoughts didn't go into making the metrics, but perhaps a slightly different view is that for all intents and purposes, the metrics were objectively completed, and as a result of a contractual obligation, it's logical for me to affirm my vote. But to echo those thoughts, student regents didn't vote on the metrics themselves, and that's not what we're voting on here either, as far as I'm concerned. It's whether the metrics were met and fulfilling the contractual obligation.
other comments? Okay, well, I would just echo those comments. I think Carter has done an outstanding job. So thankful and appreciative of all he's done for the University of Nebraska, the state of Nebraska, and I'm anxious and excited for the future. And no other comments, so let's call the roll.
Regent Schultes? Yes. Regent Latoro?
Yes.
Regent Molina?
Yes.
Regent Peckish?
Yes.
Regent Wilmot?
Abstain.
Blair?
Yes.
Regent Kenny?
Yes.
Regent O'Connor?
Yes.
Regent Shear? Regent Stark?
Yes.
Regent Whites?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. There are a number of reports included with the meeting materials, which I will accept on behalf of the board. There being no further business, and if there's no objection, we're adjourned.